Hi, welcome to the Modern Mixing Secrets Workshop. My name is Kukuletu, the owner of Talking Music. I'm a musician, blogger, and pro audio engineer. I've been teaching people how to get a professional sound for over 6 years now. The aim of this entire workshop is to help you learn how to become a professional mixing engineer. If you're just getting started or want to learn how to mix music, then this workshop will be incredibly important for you. It's a mixing workshop I wish I had when I was starting out. I'm going to help you learn how to achieve radio-ready mixes that will compete with all your favorite songs and sound good on all sound devices. Whether someone is listening to your music on earbuds, in a car, or on a big PA system. Getting a professional sounding mix can really change your life. I know from experience because now I'm topping the charts and my music is playlisted on national radio stations. So this workshop is going to help you achieve the same or even greater things that will improve your music career. I'm a lot like you. All I wanted was to make great music that people will love and vibe to. I just wanted to live a great lifestyle, perform my music and travel the world until someone told me that my music needs to be mixed and mastered. I had no idea what they were talking about. I did some research and all I could find were tips and tricks about mixing and mastering. Every time when I tried those tricks, they never worked on my music and my sound wasn't improving at all. I remember thinking that I finished mixing my song because it was sounding good to my ears. So I went to a mastering engineer because all the tips and tricks I read told me that I must not master my music. I need to send it to a professional mastering engineer. When I arrived, the guy was so generous and he charged me a good price that I was willing to pay. Then he said, "Let me hear your song." After listening to just 60 seconds, he told me that my music needs to be mixed. I was so embarrassed to even tell him that I did mix the song. So I asked him if he could give me some tips about mixing. He was such a cool guy. He gave me a bunch of videos. Then I went back home with a broken heart because I thought I had mastered this art of mixing music. I love music. I was a DJ before getting into music production and was getting gigs, so I couldn't wait to play my music to the public. But couldn't play my music to the general public because it wasn't sounding good enough to compete with other professional songs. I worked hard to learn how to produce music and I became really good at it. I decided that I'm never going to quit, so I went on a quest to learn how to mix music and nothing was going to stop me. I couldn't picture myself doing anything else besides music. I had mastered the art of DJing and was a good producer, so I wanted to grow into something else and being a professional mixing engineer was it. That's when I decided to go to other recording studios to see if I can find someone who'll teach me how to mix music. At this time, all I knew were some tips and tricks I read from articles, short videos, and some books I have purchased. Watching other professional engineers working in the studio made me understand and grasp the idea of mixing. Now, since these people were working on real projects that were going to be released, they were working really fast and they were not explaining what they were doing. So I had an idea of how the process works, but still couldn't understand the bigger picture and why they were using certain tools. But at least they allowed me to stay and watch them work. In some cases, I just bribed them so they can allow me to be there while they were working. Some of them were working on really big budget studios with fancy equipment and acoustic treatment, while on other small studios that I visited, they were using really simple and basic equipment. Here are some secrets I've learned while watching these professionals work. Mix preparation. All of them spend 10 to almost 30 minutes preparing the mix and never do mixing while recording or producing the song. The mix is always separated from the production project. Another secret I learned is that it's not about the gear or equipment, it's all about the skill. Many of these people were using plugins that come with software and not relying on any third-party tools. They focused on the key elements of the song. That's another secret. All the professionals I watched were never mixing individual channels. They were using group channels or bus channels. Another secret I learned is that they got the right sound from the source. None of them were using their mixing skills to fix recording problems. They were mixing just to polish the song and prepare it for mastering. Another secret is they were not using any low cuts on all channels. I didn't see any of these people low cutting all instruments and sounds in a mix. I asked one guy why he's not doing low cuts, and he told me the mix will sound weak, and he told me to use low shelf if necessary instead of removing everything with a low cut. They also used a lot of reference material. When I say a lot, I mean each project would have 8 or more reference tracks, and they would switch between their mix and the reference before doing any processing. And another big secret is that they all had mentors. A few of them told me straight up that I'll never learn how to mix without a mentor, or at least watch someone do it from start to finish. Those are just a few secrets I learned. I'm going to share with you all the secrets in the next coming videos. Don't worry, I'll leave no stones unturned. But one thing that really helped me get a grasp of mixing and understand the bigger picture was when I got a chance to be mentored by people such as Dave Darlington and Chris Lord Alge, who are both Grammy Award-winning audio engineers. That's what really polished my skill, because they told me what to do, why, and how, instead of just watching and assume. Throughout the years of teaching people how to mix music, I've discovered that many people think that mixing is all about gear, expensive plugins, and great acoustic treatment. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to destroy that myth. One thing I learned from Chris Lord Alge is that if you need specific tools or perfect room, then you don't understand mixing. Over the years, I figured out that it's totally true. It's all about the skill, not the gear. And now, let me show you how this song was mixed using only stock plugins. No third-party tools or outboard gear was used. Then after, we'll see if the song does compete with a Grammy Award-winning engineer's mix. The song was mixed by Chris Lord Alge using analog equipment only, and on this project, I only used stock plugins for the purpose of this video. As you can see, all these are Cubase plugins. This is not even Cubase Pro. I bought Cubase Artist since I didn't have a good budget, but regret that decision. I should have been patient and invested more money. So this version of Cubase doesn't even have the full plugins, but what I have was more than enough to produce a great sounding mix that will compete with any commercial song. I'll just keep scrolling to show you guys that everything was done with stock plugins. This will prove that you can get radio-ready mixes using tools that you already have today. You don't have to invest tons of money on acoustic treatment or expensive equipment. And now is the moment of truth. Can this mix compete with a song that was mixed with analog equipment by a Grammy Award mixing engineer? Let's find out. As you can see, I've already imported the analog mix to keep this video as short as possible. At the moment, it is muted. Everything on my project is routed to a mixbus group channel, so that when I click the solo button on the analog mix, it doesn't get affected by any of my processing. When I click the solo button, the analog mix will play, and when I remove the solo, the analog mix will be muted and you'll be hearing the stock plugins mix. Here we go.
They cut it out of your skin. You were the last one to know there was no chance for hope. Your way out, exchange for where to begin. You're so strong in your silence, just a word to within. You know your love's built on sex, full of fear and regret. Your eyes, they show nothing but quit. Your mouth just talks about it.
Now the question is, can you tell the difference? I know I can, but do you think an average listener who doesn't know anything about mixing can tell the difference? No, they can't. The only difference is that the Cubase plugins are too transparent, which I can easily fix by adding more saturation and distortion, or simply sending it to a professional mastering engineer who uses analog equipment. But the main goal was achieved. The mix, which was mixed using stock plugins, can definitely compete with an analog mix that was mixed by a Grammy Award-winning mixing engineer. Bear in mind that Chris Lord Alge only uses outboard gear. He doesn't use plugins, so producing a mix that can compete with a song he mixed is a big deal. I really hope that you are excited now because we just busted a really big myth. Now you know that it's not about the gear, but it's all about skill. This should really inspire you. For the next lesson, I want to talk about low-end cards and why you shouldn't do any of that stuff by default. This is one of the top secrets I learned from pro audio engineers. Every blog post and YouTube video will tell you that you need to do a low cut or high pass filter on every instrument besides the bass and kick. If you do this, your mixes will sound weak and harsh. Let me show you what a low cut does to your sound. Here is a simple kick. What I'm going to do is to add an EQ and do a low cut for you. We'll use the FabFilter Pro Q for this example. Let me find it first. As you can see, the kick drum is peaking at 0 dB. Now watch what happens when I create a low cut on the kick. We are removing frequencies, but the kick is now clipping and it is now peaking at plus 0.1 dB. Now watch what happens as I keep pushing the low cut. The sound keeps increasing in volume, you'll see. This is what happens when you keep adding low cuts on all your sounds. They increase in volume and will sound harsh in the upper mid frequencies. This is just one sound. Imagine creating a low cut on 30 plus sounds in a mix. That's why other mixes sound harsh and lack punch. The reason why the mix loses punch is that the low cut messes the phase of a sound. So there's a small phase shift when you add a low cut. Phase shift on 30 plus sounds in a mix is what kills all the punch and you'll end up with a weak sounding mix. This happens with high pass filter and low pass filters. It doesn't happen with a band pass filter. Let me show you. As you can see, the bandpass filter even decreases the volume. That is why many pro audio engineers will go for the shelf filter instead of a high pass or a low pass filter. A shelf filter decreases the frequencies instead of completely removing all the frequencies like a high pass or low pass filter. When someone on YouTube recommends low cuts on all instruments, I already know that the person is an amateur. They might be popular, but listen to their mixes and you'll realize that they are not punchy or usually sound harsh in the upper mid frequencies. So does this mean you don't need to do any low cuts? The answer is no. Just don't do it by default. If something is obviously clashing with the kick and bass, then yes, you can do a low cut. This philosophy also applies to high cuts as well. Always try a shelf before you can go for a high or low pass filter. The high pass filter technique was created because most people mix in rooms that are not acoustically treated. You can't hear the low end build up in a room that is not acoustically treated. Then you will end up with a mix that has too much bass. But it's 2018 now. And in video 3 of this workshop, I'll show you a good workaround for that. I'll show you how to guarantee that your mix has a good balance in all frequencies without any guesswork. Even if you are using stock plugins without third-party tools. Right now, I want to go through all the EQ settings for the mix we used earlier on to show you that there are no low cuts on every sound. Let me open the project. Close this one. No, don't save. As you heard earlier, the mix does compete with a mix that was mixed with analog gear by a Grammy Award mixing engineer. I've proven to you that you don't need fancy equipment or gear. You can use what you already have to compete with the best engineers in the world. Right now, I need to show you that you don't need low cuts on every sound in a mix. As I keep switching from one sound to another, you'll see that only a few sounds have low cuts or a low shelf. One other thing that you need to notice is that they are really small cuts. They don't reach crazy numbers such as a cut that reaches 300 Hz like other people on YouTube recommend. As you can see, this one is just at 42 Hz. It's not even a big low cut. No low cut. $68. 47 Hz. Then no more low cuts. That's it. I know some of you are watching this video and thinking whether it's possible to get pro mixes that will compete with the best engineers with Fruity Loops or FL Studio. The answer is always a big resounding yes. It doesn't matter if you're using GarageBand, Ableton Live, Reason, Studio One, Reaper, Apple Logic, Pro Tools, or an old version of Cubase. All those have the necessary tools to help you turn your home studio demos into a professional sounding mix. Some of you may be wondering if this will work for someone who's a complete beginner. Again, the answer is yes. All you need is the right system and a mentor. I'm here for both of that. I'll be your mentor, and in the upcoming videos, I'll show you a step-by-step system that you can use to turn your home studio demos into radio-ready mixes that will compete with Grammy Award-winning songs. So, does this mean you no longer need third-party tools or output gear? The answer is both yes and no in this case. I was just busting the myth of needing extra tools to show you that you can achieve a great mix with tools that you already have. You don't need a lot of third-party tools. I'll show you just a few tools that will make your job 10 times easier in upcoming videos of the workshop. They are not necessary though. Another question that people always ask me is, can I send you my mix for constructive criticism? Yes, but only after you finished watching the entire workshop and applied all the strategies that I'm going to give you. All those who will finish the training can send me their songs and I'll help you improve your mix till it competes with the best. In video 2, I'm going to show you how the pros focus on the key elements of the song. This technique will help you mix your songs very fast. Professional recording studios have a lot of clients and working fast is really important. After learning this, you won't need to spend weeks or months mixing one song. This lesson will also be great for those who want to take clients and become audio engineers for other artists and musicians. As an additional bonus, I'll also show you how to prepare a mix and why all professional mixing engineers spend 30 minutes or more preparing a mix. But right now, I want to know more about you. What would it be like for you if you could learn all the ins and outs of mixing? How would your life change if you could turn a demo song into a radio-ready mix that will compete with Grammy Award-winning music? What would it do to your lifestyle? What would it mean for you and your family? Please scroll down below this video and tell me in the comments section. Having good quality music has changed my life and opened many doors for me. It has helped me connect with a lot of people I respect. I can now release music without fearing what other people will say, and it has given me the freedom to focus on the creative side of music production instead of stressing about the quality of the music. When you finally have the right system for mixing your music, the sky is the limit. There's no telling how far you can go. Scroll down below and leave a comment for me, and I'll see you in the next video.